Drum Designer. What's up, dogs? It's Cameron with Venus Theory, and I am stoked to be showing you guys the new UVI Drum Designer. This is a UVI drum sequencer slash drum sound maker slash a whole lot of more things, and it is absolutely excellent because, like, a lot of the processes of how I make my drum sounds are kind of wrapped up in this one little plugin, which makes it super convenient and easy to make new drum sounds with layering and enveloping and doing it all in an environment that's kind of designed specifically for that purpose, and then being able to sequence it and export the MIDI and all this other stuff. It's kind of one of those situations of why has this not existed before? This would have saved me a lot of time. So without further ado, let's dive in and check out Drum Designer. Alright guys, so in this video we are here to talk about UVI Drum Designer. So I've loaded up a quick little kit here and we're going to get into all the nitty-gritty details, but I just wanted to show you how awesome this sounds. So this is Drum Designer. What is Drum Designer? Well, it's a sequencer, it's a drum maker, it's a gift from the heavens. This is really, really cool. So if we go out to the default kit here, we can see we get kick, snare, clap, sample, or kick, snare, clap, cymbal rather, and this leads into a kit. We can go into each individual element and adjust it. Each element has tons of different controls. We can edit the things that comprise that element of the kit. We can adjust all of the weird nitty-gritty stuff. We can switch out different sounds. We can make them key track. We have filters. We can adjust the timing, the gain. We have effects for every single thing. It is absolutely nuts, and you can do this for every last element of the drum kit. So let's go ahead and just check out a couple different patterns here to check out the sequencer. So let's check out, this is dubstep downer. Let's check out something else. Let's look at down tempo chilled. Let's go ahead and set this to be 70 BPM where it should be. So we can go in here and add in stuff to the sequence. There's multiple pages, so you can have a bunch of different patterns. You can add swing, you can edit the grid, you can do pretty much anything you want. Even within here, we have velocity, we have panning controls, pitch controls, decay controls. We have a full-on mixer with all sorts of different possibilities. We have master effects, so we can do all sorts of stuff. So let's dive in and take a look at why this is so cool. So we're going to just go ahead and initialize this, and we'll start things off by taking a look at the kick here. So with Drum Designer, one thing I should note, we have C3 to play a pattern. We have all of these different notes up here, C4 to C5, to start at different points in the pattern and across different pages, so you can create your own little drum sequences very, very easy, which is super dope. It's a really nice way to add variations once you program a pattern in here to start from a different point by just playing the drum pattern essentially bar by bar with these keys. And we get individual outputs, so we can play our kick, snares, clap, we can do our cymbals. So this is pretty freaking cool. So let's take a look at the kick. So in the main tab, we get pitch, decay, color, and loudness. You also get a gate, release, and velocity control with pitch tracking. So we can say pitch tracking 200%, pitch tracking 0%. So if you're doing an 808, this is very, very handy because you can track it to your keys. So when we're building a kick drum, this gets way more in depth, and I'll show that in a minute. But these basic controls here, it's pretty much straightforward. So we can adjust the pitch. We could adjust the decay to make this into more of an 808. So that's pretty cool. We can go ahead and set this back to 1. Color. So this if my ears are right, this just adjusts the filter. We can have a brighter or darker. So I think this is like a low pass, and this is a high shelf that just goes upwards. Loudness is, well, loudness. So I think this is actually a transient shaper, but I'm not quite sure. I would have to dig into the manual more to see. So in the Edit tab, this is where things get really, really cool. So we get a body and tone layer. We can solo these out, so the body is clean 5, but we can switch through this and build a completely new sound. So then we could go to the tone layer. We could open up a bunch of different ones and get something completely different. We could pitch them up. We could adjust the time. So we could start this before the kick, after. So this is incredibly handy to design drums with. Tone amp, this tone pitch, tone wave. I mean, you can imagine how insanely powerful this is. So our tone amplitude here, we could adjust this to some weird, ridiculous shape. We could adjust the tone pitch to be super weird. We could adjust the tone wave, so we could shape this up, more attack, do a longer decay. We could adjust the phase. So this is just absolutely nuts. And then effects here, we could do a transient shaper. We could add soft clipping, stereo width. We get some basic EQ. We get a convolution reverb. So we could just open a spring reverb, because why not? And this goes on and on for every single element, which is awesome. So let's take a look at a snare. So all basically the same stuff, however, we get a bunch of different layers here. So body, tone, noise 1, noise 2, all of these have individual little tabs, and we can adjust every single element to design our own drum sound in like seconds, which is so awesome, because the cool thing about this is this is what I do when I'm making drums for like my own tracks, is, you know, I'm layering up different things and then processing them to make a new unique snare sound. But this is awesome because it just does all that for me, and it's all in one environment. You know, I don't have to put 14 snare layers here and then a group track into another group track and then do, you know, everything one at a time. It's all very intuitive and very quick, and you get over 5,000 samples to work with, which, like, 5,000's a big number. It's like 5 with 3 zeros after it, and that's a whole lot of different samples. So, you know, this is really cool because we could start things off here and just say, like, I want to make, you know, a soft, like, future garage type snare. So I could start things off with a rim shot. We could maybe look for a different one that's not so crazy aggressive. Sure, we could adjust the gain. We could filter it. Pitch it up just a bit. We could go for the tone layer next and find something we like. So let's do cool. All right, see how those two sound together. Excellent. We could add some noise next. Cool. And we can go for this final noise layer here. We could go for like a ride cymbal. Very, very subtly add that in. So we could adjust our decay here to be very short. Cool. We could mess with noise 1. There we go, and we can make this a pre-shifted snare by adjusting the time. Excellent. We could open up that filter. And drop down the gain. Excellent. Now we can move into effects. We could do transient shaper again. Soft clipping a little bit. Make it kind of wide-ish. Filter the whole thing. Get a little bit of a boost somewhere in here. Cool. And then we could bounce that whole thing through some kind of reverb. And we've got a totally unique snare sound in, like, no time at all. And, like, doing that through Cubase with all the inserts and all that kind of stuff would take absolutely ages. All around, I mean, this is really, really neat. And this is the first release of this plugin. And right away, it's like, I'm hooked on it. I have so much fun just designing random drum sounds, bouncing them out, throwing them in my sample folder. Done. And it's like, you know, I can... Like on those days where I just want to kind of do sound design and mess around, this is an awesome plugin for that, especially because it all runs in Falcon. So, you know, once I have my sound, like let's say this snare here, I also have full access to all of the effects of Falcon to do whatever I want with it. So I could toss this through a chorus and then throw in a, like, diode clipper, sure, and just see what happens. And there we go, new drum sound, and I could just bounce it out. If I don't like that, I could go in here and just flip through different samples till I find something. Cool, and then a different tone. Cool, and then let's try closed hi-hat, dark hi-hat 23. How insane is that? And it's like, you know, like every result is unique. And that's what's so awesome about it is, like, you know, with all the effects and very fine controls you get with this plugin, I mean, you can just do whatever you want, and that's totally awesome. The downsides being that I really, really wish I could load my own samples into this. I don't think that's available at this time, but I would guess that maybe they're eventually going to add that functionality to where I could drag my own kick sample into the body one here. Perhaps I could import these into the folder that this expansion is in, but I've yet to experiment with that. So all around, really, really high marks, incredibly powerful tool, and all sorts of, you know, really decent drum patterns too, that, like, that's been helpful as well as, like, you know, when I want to start a track, I can just open up Drum Designer, find a sequence, and just kind of roll with that for a minute. And then when I'm happy with it, you know, go back in here, tweak the sequence, and pitch and panning and all that stuff that, you know, normally takes a very long time to get done. So, you know, I could just do some random panning here. We could change the pitch of the snare very, very quickly. And then we get this. So that is pretty awesome and an incredibly, like, insane amount of power within one plugin. There are tons and tons of other features I won't go into detail here for the sake of length, but you can check this out on UVI's site and check out the manual as well to get a better idea of all that this has to offer. But all around, I am stoked on this plugin, and I can't wait to see what they do with it in future updates. And that's it for this video, guys, so thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this. As always, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys again soon.